Hello everyone and welcome back to This Is Real Life. I'm your host Sheri, and on today's DIY Wednesday video, we're making official cornhole scoreboards. I know, it's very exciting. Remember the amazing cornhole boards? Well, now that we have amazing cornhole boards, who wants to keep track of the score in their head when we can make scoreboards? I know I don't want to keep track of scores in my head when I could have a cute scoreboard that's actually not going to take very much time and very little materials to make. But before we get into it, let me just remind you, because you guys did say that I needed to remind you more often to subscribe to the channel, make sure you have your notification bell rung so that you don't miss any video that I push out. And also, while we're thinking about it, you might as well just pause the video, hit the thumbs up button, and then come back, because you know you're gonna like this video. So why wait? Give it a thumbs up right now. Okay, you've been reminded, so I expect you to do it. Now, let's get into it. Okay, so just like the cornhole boards, I got this recipe from hdtv.com. DIY cornhole scoreboard for tailgating. I mean, I think you can use it if you're just playing in your backyard. I don't think you can only use this scoreboard when you're tailgating. You can use it whenever, wherever you're playing cornhole. The materials you need are two 1x12s, and they didn't tell me the length of the 1x12. So when I was looking at the pictures, there was a gal like standing next to her scoreboard, and I guesstimated, average height. I'm 5'7", maybe she's 5'7", came up to about her armpit. So I figured it was 4 feet tall. Now, I'm gonna give you a little insider tip that I knew nothing about until today. I went to go buy 12 by 8 foot long boards. They're not super cheap. A 1x12 by 8 in the nicer wood section was running about 25 bucks. So I went over to where they have the fence boards and the wood that's like, I'm gonna have to say on this. And they had 1x12 by 8s for $17. But they only had like 10 of them, and every single one of them had a crack. And I was like, well, great. I'm not gonna be able to buy these. So I'm standing there hemming and hawing after I was going through all of the boards. A Home Depot employee came up to me and asked if I needed any help, which first of all, crazy, right? And I told her I wanted to buy these boards, but they all have a crack in them. I wanted to make one as a gift. Don't say anything, but I'm making one for Stacy. And if it were just me, I wouldn't mind buying it, putting some wood filler in the crack, and then calling it a day. But since I'm giving it as a gift, I don't want to do that. And guess what she told me? She said, well, if you want, you can pick out the best ones. I can cut the bad part off if you just need them 4 foot tall, and then I'll give them to you at a 70% discount. And I said, I'll take you up on that offer. So not only did she cut all of my 1x12s to 4 feet long, but I got each one for $5. Whereas I would have to have spent $17 on an 8 foot length, I spent $10 on an 8 foot length. So I'm just saying, if it's bad wood, maybe ask somebody. They can trim off the bad part and then give you a discount on the rest. I'm just saying, you didn't hear it from me. I don't know if that's like nationwide. Point of the story is I got a deal on these boards and I was very happy about it. So I am making 2 sets, but if you're just making one, you just need 2 1x12 by 4 foot long boards. Then you're going to need 1 6-inch wide by 4-inch long board. Now this is wood that I already had, and it's 5.5 inches. I don't think that's bad. I wasn't gonna buy a new piece of 6-inch wide board just for these little accessories. So you're gonna need 1 of these, and then you're gonna need 2 of the same width. So 6 or 5.5 by 9 boards. So I've already pre-cut those. So 2, 2, 1, and that's it. Then you are also going to need a piano hinge. 1 inch by 12 inches. I wanna say it was like $7.16. Then you're gonna want to get some baskets. I ran over to the Dollar Tree and I got 2 for each of the scoreboards because these baskets are going to hold your cornhole bean bags. So it could be team color 1, team color 2 in each. Then you're gonna wanna find some golf tees. It just so happens that Editor John had these and I only need 4. So if you know somebody that golfs, go steal 4 golf tees from them. So you're gonna need 2 of those. And then you're going to need some number stickers. I picked these up at the Dollar Tree too. They're not my favorite and I don't know if I'm going to use them. I might just end up getting a paint pen and then hand writing the numbers for the scores on this board. I haven't decided yet. And then other than that, you just need some 1-inch wood screws. That's it. Oh, you're gonna need your jigsaw and you're gonna need a drill. But other than that, you're ready to make the cornhole scoreboard. I am a little bit shadowy because the sun is going down, so apologies for that. However, I do have my new bright light up, so when the sun does go down, I'll still be really well lit. I know. So the recipe, which I will link in the description box below if you want to make these boards for yourself, it does say that we need a 3-inch and a 1-inch hole saw, which I don't have. The biggest hole saw I have is 2 3/4. I didn't want to buy another one of these because these are not cheap. For our holes, just like we did our cornhole boards, we're just gonna use our jigsaw and cut out circles. It's not gonna be that big of a deal. I'd rather save money on this, something that I'm gonna use one time. So if you don't have a 1-inch and a 3-inch, I wouldn't worry about it. Just use our jigsaw. The recipe says place our 1x12s and we're supposed to mark the center at the top of each board about 2 1/4 inches from the edge. Then mark a 1/2 inch from the center on both sides. So there's a lot of measurements that go up at the top. So you just want to pick what board is going to be your top. And you're going to do those measurements on both boards. So these happen to be, even though they're by 12s, actual measurement is 11 1/4. So what's half of 11 1/4? Right here is the center. So what they want you to do is we're making a handle at the top of each one of these boards. Come down 2 1/4. Then they want you to mark 1 inch on either side of that mark and then another 1.5 inches on either side of that mark. And I know why they want you to do that. They want you to use your 1-inch hole saw and drill a hole at each one of those points so that, like, if you were to pick it up, it would be like this for your fingers. We're not gonna do that. We're just gonna make like an oval for our handle and use our jigsaw to cut it out. So what I did was I made all of those marks that they said to make and I just drew a straight line across. Then I grabbed a screwdriver. I grabbed this because of this roundness and I placed it on the end of my line and then drew a half circle on each end. And then I connected those with another line. So now I have like an oblong shape like this. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to drill a hole very close to the corner just so I can get my jigsaw blade in there and then I'm gonna cut that out. Once I have that shape done, I'm just gonna transfer it to my other boards and copy that on all of my other boards. Okay, now that we have our handles cut out, we get to move on to our cup holders. They want you to find the center of your board in both directions. So 3 and 4.5. Mine is not 6, it's 5.5. So my center is 2 3/4. So we want to mark 2 3/4 and then draw our line down the center here. And then we want to go in 4.5, draw a line here. Then we want to find the center of each one of these squares and mark that here. So we know this half is 4.5 and this half is 4.5. So mark 2 1/4 down and put a mark and do that on both sides. Now, because we do not have a 3-inch hole saw, we're going to use our compass, and we want to draw a 3-inch circle in each one of these because we're gonna cut that out and that's gonna act as our cup holder. Mark your compass at 1.5, put the little pointer on your mark that you made and draw your circle. And when all is said and done, you should have 2 3-inch circles. Yay! So I am going to cut these out with my jigsaw just like I did the handles. Now, you only need to do this to your top board. You wanna leave your bottom board whole because you're gonna set your cup in here and it's gonna rest on the bottom board. So all you have to do is cut these out. Easy. Okay, so after we have our cup holder circles cut out and our handles cut out, before we move on, we need to sand everything smooth, basically. Then we paint, and then we just assemble it. So it's really easy. I'm gonna sand every piece really nice and smooth, and then I'm going to paint them. I'm gonna paint both of them white, and then I'm gonna add details to match each of our cornhole boards. So, I mean, you don't need to watch me sand. You know what it's like to sand. I'm just gonna use my palm sander. I'm gonna sand and paint, and then when we come back, we'll assemble. I'm telling you, it's so quick. The association is really gonna love us. I keep checking my mailbox, but there's no letter yet. But hopefully after they see this video, they're putting me on the team. I'm just saying. Okay, now that I have everything pristinely sanded and painted, the back's there. I have all the parts and pieces, but I have the fronts that I really painted really kind of special. They're in the house under our brand new ceiling fan drying because I think it's just a little bit too, it rained, so I think it's a little too damp and I feel like that paint's not dry. I pulled those into the house to hopefully dry them faster. But while that's drying, we get to build our cup holder. Originally, the recipe said that this piece right here should be 4 inches tall by 6. I tested it and I don't think that's a good measurement. My Starbucks cup, you can see there's not a lot of inch room here. And so I was like, let me go get a Truly can, a beer bottle, and a normal beer can. I mean, the Truly can had a little less than my Starbucks cup. The beer bottle obviously was pretty tall, but the normal beer can barely came up above this part, so you couldn't really grab it without like grabbing it from here and pushing it up. So what I decided to do was change this measurement to 3 inches tall. So it's 3 inches by 6 inches, and now it will fit any sort of red Solo cup, beer can, whatever. So we need to assemble this. Okay, so for this assembly, this is where your 1-inch screws are going to come into play. You're gonna need a drill bit because you wanna pre-drill. These boards are pretty thin, and your drill for your screws. I think we should stack this and then eyeball the center, and I'm gonna use a straight edge. Drill holes here, here, and here, and it will go all the way through to our bottom piece as well. So I'm just gonna drill maybe at 1 inch, somewhere in the center. I'm just eyeballing it, but I want my drill hole to go through both boards. And now we have this board marked as well as this board, but this board, I didn't go all the way through to the bottom, so we want that drill hole to go all the way through. So now all we need to do is get our divider piece, make sure it's centered and that it's flush edge to edge. And I'm just gonna drill. And now we can screw that together. Easy, easy. Now that we have that, we can flip this whole thing over, make sure our edges are perfectly lined up, and now we can drill into the bottom and our cup holder will be done. Now that we have our cup holder assembled, we can put that off to the side because now we can attach the hinge to our back board. This hinge is a 12-inch piano hinge. This is less than 12 inches. However, this does say it can cut to fit length. So in order to do that, which I didn't realize in the beginning when I told you guys that all you needed was like a drill, you need a hacksaw. Yeah. However, these are very, 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 very cheap. And then you just get a metal blade, which is very cheap. I think the whole situation was like less than 10 bucks. And you can get blades to cut wood or whatever it is. So it's kind of handy to have one of these. I can see it's too big. So I'm thinking if I cut off the last little hinge on either side so I keep it symmetrical, that seems to me like it will fit. So I'm going to clamp this to my workbench so that it's held firmly in place. Okay, yay. Now, I'm gonna take my hacksaw and I'm gonna put my blade right in between that first and second hinge, and then I'm just gonna saw like crazy. And it should cut it right off. It's not very thick metal, so I think we'll be fine. There we go. I think I'm through enough to where I could just bend it and it'll break off. There we go. Easy, and that didn't take me very much time at all. So now I just have to do the same thing to the other side. Okay, yay, cutting it, very easy. Now, it fits perfectly. So now we can screw this on to the inside back. Like it's an A. So this part right here is the inside of the A. This part is the outside of the A. You want to screw your hinge to the inside top of the A. Closed all the way, it's flat and it meets. In order to get it even with the top, I'm gonna open it the opposite way and put it like an L on the top of my board here. Oh, actually, before I do that, where I cut off is a little bit sharp, so I'm just gonna sand it smooth with my palm sander and some sandpaper. And then we'll put it here and then pre-drill and then drill. Okay, yeah, that's much, much better. And I'm sure there's probably a correct sanding method, but my palm sander with 120 grit sandpaper worked just fine. I just lightly went like this, and now we're smooth. So we are going to put this, make an L formation, rest that on the top edge of the inside back of your board. Take your drill, pre-drill your holes. Not all the way through, just get a little start. A little start. We do not want our screws poking out the back side. Just that, just the barest of minimums. Now, let's check these screws that came with our hinge. They are like this much too long, so I don't want to use these. I'm going to go to these tiny little babies that I have here. So just know the screws that come with the hinge are a little bit too long because you do not want these poking out the back side. So the screws that came with it are like a little more than 1/2 inch, and the screws that I'm going to use are about 1/2 inch. I'm just gonna start middle out like I normally do. Voila, that easy. Yay, that's done. Moving on to the next step, which I'm a little nervous about, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so the part I'm nervous about is this step. Create ScoreBoard. The idea, this is one of my painted fronts. You can see it's team black and team pink. Now in the middle, there's supposed to be numbers 1 to 21. And then how you keep score is with a golf tee for each team. And then each team has 21 holes drilled on each side that do not go all the way through your board, but that are evenly spaced out to coincide with the numbers that will be in the middle. Why I'm nervous about it is I want to make sure my drill holes are centered in the team color. Not only do I want them centered, but I want them to be straight in a line. I don't want them to go like this. And I was thinking about the best way to go about it. They want us to mark 8 inches down and then drill each hole 1.5 inches apart until we have 21 holes. I thought that maybe painter's tape would be our friend here. If I can get a template on a piece of painter's tape and then I can reuse that painter's tape for each team, that might help us. I'm just gonna put it here, go here, all the way down, even though our holes won't reach to the bottom. Then I'm gonna mark center, top and bottom for my team color. 3 3/4. So now I can mark this as well. Great. Now, what I'm thinking, and you could do this with a tape measure, making my marks line up top to bottom, and I'm gonna draw a straight line. Now we measure 8 inches down. So that's here. And we want to draw a straight line. This is where our holes are going to start. So 1.5 inches down from this line will be hole number 21. So on, so on, so on, so on. So now I need to make marks on my center line at 1.5 inches down. And then hopefully we end up with 21 marks. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Okay, yay. Now we have to find a drill bit that fits a golf tee. And I have one, but I'm going to do a test in a scrap piece of wood before I drill 21 holes that don't fit. I know, I'm pretty smart, right? Okay, you need a bigger drill than you would think for a golf tee. I tested 4. I was torn between the 3/16 and the 13/64 drill bit. I did drill all the way through this wood, and the little bit larger one, you can stick the tee all the way through and it does poke out the other side, but I actually prefer the security of that. Now the recipe says don't drill the holes all the way through the board, but I almost think that I want to. So I'm thinking I'm gonna use a little bit bigger drill bit and then I'm just gonna do it all the way through. I don't mind it, and so what? I don't care, I think that's a better design. I mean, I already changed the cup holder design, so why not this? That's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna drill my holes all the way through this board. I don't care. What I need to do to make sure that they're in line, I was going to clamp a straight edge to my board, like so. Just far enough away so that when I put my drill, I'm right on that mark. But now I can go straight down, boom, 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 and make sure they're super, super straight. And you guys might be thinking, Sheri, you're on your work table. Aren't you gonna drill through your work table? No. Because this is like a, I don't know what, and I can feel when it hits the table. So it leaves a little mark in my table, but I don't really care. But it goes all the way through this wood. So everybody, cross your fingers. I'm gonna try to drill 21 holes in a straight line. Okay, I think we did it, and I think we did pretty good. Now, moment of truth. So I don't have to keep measuring over and over and over again. I want to be able to reuse this tape on this side. So hopefully we can just peel this up, and this can now be our template for our other side. Yay! Now I just have to measure to make sure this is centered. I am gonna have to go and do some touch-ups here, but I'll tell you what, 21. Yay! Okay, now I gotta do it on this side. Yay, we did it. Now, I'm a little bummed out that I am gonna have to lightly sand around these holes and then touch up paint. I'm a little sad about it, and I was thinking, why did they have us paint it before we drilled? And then I realized you probably don't want to paint it after you have a bunch of holes in it because the paint will get in the holes and then clog up the holes, and we don't want that. And look, boom, it fits. Boom, it fits. Look at it, we're keeping score. Now all we need to do is like figure out how to put the numbers here, but we'll figure that out later because now we can put our accoutrements onto our back piece. So our cup holder and our wire basket. And then we just hinge our front to our back and voila. I mean, I have some other little things that I want to do that are going to be really, really cute that they didn't do in the recipe, but I think is just a nice added touch. So we'll do that as well. But let's get our cup holder and our wire baskets onto our back. So get your back, and on the other side, opposite the side we put the hinge on, flip that this away. This is where your accoutrements are going to go. So you're gonna have your cup holder and your baskets. Boom and boom. For the baskets, your best bet is probably gonna be like a cup hook. You could screw in 2 cup hooks and just hang your baskets on. But I found, you know, like Closet Made, those wire shelves. I think these are these little clips that hold the wire shelves in. So because I have them, I'm gonna go ahead and use those here and screw these in to hold the baskets in place. But your best bet is probably gonna be cup hooks and you can grab those at the Dollar Tree. Before we do our baskets, we need to put our cup holder in place. So you can put this wherever you want. Let's say it's standing. Where would you want your cups to go? Like if it was here, I could easily grab my drink. So we want to be able to screw in from the opposite side. So what I want to do is I'm going to turn my board to the opposite side, and I'm going to put my cup holder, I'm just going to eyeball it. I want to draw a little line, top and bottom. We'll drill one hole in the center and get this kind of attached, and then we can level it. So I'm going to drill a starter hole with my baby drill bit, wherever I put that guy. Great. So what I want to do is line this up, make sure I'm centered, and I'm going to drill through my hole again into my cup holder. And now we can put a screw, not all the way tight, just in there. So it's like holding it, and then we can level it, drill our pilot holes, and then screw the whole thing in. So it's in there, and I want to level this.
Oh my gosh, I did it perfect on the first try.
I'm gonna drill 2 more holes along the top, 3 holes along the bottom, and then 1 in the center. And actually I changed my mind. Before I drill all the remaining holes, I'm gonna get the top secure so it stops moving on me. And now I can screw in those top other 2 screws, tighten all of those, and then I'll be secure enough to drill and screw in my remaining holes and screws. Okay, so yay. Cup holder and baskets are securely on the back side of our scoreboard. So now, technically, all we have to do is hinge our back to our front. I know, but because I have some touch-up paint work to do, I'm probably gonna do that before I hinge this together. So what I would do is I would lay my front face down and then lay my back in like an L formation lined up with the top edge of my inside, and then holding it like this, I would mark my holes to drill. I don't know, guys, how do they expect you to do this without, you know, fucking shit up? You'd have to hold it like this and at least get a couple screws secured in. Then you could probably let loose of this so this stops moving and then screw the remainder in. You know what? We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But right now I need to touch up my boards. I need to do a little sanding, a little touch-up paint. I also need to figure out what I want to do for the numbers. I did purchase these number stickers from the Dollar Tree, and I do like the size of them. I just don't want to guarantee the stickiness of them. Like, will they stay stuck year after year? My other option was to get on my Cricut and Cricut out a bunch of numbers, but I didn't want to do that because these stickers cost me $1.25. But in lieu of this, I also bought some paint pens. What if I just hand wrote them on? Haven't decided. So another one that we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But for now, I'm gonna touch up everything. I have touched up, painted all the holes. I touched up the white. I've done all of my touch-up paint. I'm kind of pushing the limits here. It feels like it still could be a little bit wet. So I did my board and Stacy's board. This is Stacy's that you're looking at here, hence the red, white, and blue. And I done some tests, which this, I specifically asked my hardware store, do you have paint pens? And they said, yes. Here they are right here. So I bought a 2-pack and I just tested them. They're not paint pens at all. They're like a fancy Sharpie, and I just don't like it. I just don't like it. So I tested the stickers as well, and if you press them down, you can, if you get your fingernail under there, you can peel it off. But I was thinking, I do have a clear coat that I used on the boards, but that's not my dilemma. My dilemma, which I think I may have come up with a perfect plan. We don't know yet. My dilemma was in this white section where the numbers are supposed to go. I don't want to put any marks. I don't want to draw a line. I don't want any marks on the white section. But I need to know where center is, and then I also need to know where my holes are. So I got some string. At the very tippity top and at the very bottomy bottom, I marked where center is. And then I took my string and I taped it to my table at the center, and then stretched it tight and taped it down on this end. So I know where center is, and it's tight enough to where it's not gonna wiggle around, but also I can get underneath of it to lay my stickers out. So that's how I'm keeping center. And then I have my measuring tape here. So hopefully it all looks nice and straight and clean and center when all is said and done. That's my plan. Wish me luck. Okay guys, the DIY cornhole scoreboards are officially done and they are so cute. I gotta say, I added some touches that even take them to another level. Are you ready to see them? Because here comes the final reveal. Dun 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 dun! Look it, and look how cute. Look at the scoreboard coordinates with the cornhole boards. I mean, let me bring you in for a closer look of the details. To keep score, you are supposed to move these golf tees into the little holes. Now, the instructions didn't have a little string attached. I did that. You're gonna lose these. You're gonna lose these if they're not attached to anything. So I just tied a string to each of the golf tees, and I made sure that you could reach the 21 as well as the 1, and all I did was staple it to the back side here. Then I also added a string here because this hinge, you could actually open this up completely flat and lay it on the ground. And I thought if someone kicked it or, you know, the ruckus of cornhole, this might like fly out and splat on the ground. And then we have our cup holders. Now, mine, this is the 4-inch height divider, whereas I changed Stacy's to 3-inch. So to make mine able to hold like a normal beer can, I just cut 2 pieces of wood, team pink, team black. So now it raises this up a little bit. So now normal beer can fit in here. Then we have our 2 baskets for our team bean bags. I mean, I can't get enough. I cannot get enough. So yeah, yay, I'm super excited. And best part is you could just fold them up and with your little handle, carry them to wherever you need to score cornhole.
I love them. I love them so much.
So cute. So when all is said and done, each board, excluding the paint, because I just reused the paint that I had from the cornhole boards, each cost me about $30. The hinges were like $7. The wood, what was it, like $10 per. I did use scrap wood for the cup holders. I bought Dollar Tree baskets. The golf tees I got from John. Yeah, maybe it was under $30. Oh, and to buy the stickers. Now, the stickers, I'll tell you what, the stickers were giving me some trouble. As far as lining them up was concerned, I think I'm genius for thinking of the idea with the string so I didn't leave any marks on the board. So that wasn't the issue. The issue was making sure that they stuck. Now, I contemplated putting a layer of Mod Podge or a clear poly coat over this. I just didn't want to. So what I ended up doing is like what you would do for a Cricut project. I took my little Cricut scraper situation and I really rubbed these numbers into the board. So they should stick. I mean, fingers crossed, they stick. If you were worried about them peeling up, you could put a clear coat over the top. No big deal. It almost feels like the sticker is like flush with the wood now. I'm pretty satisfied with that and I'm pretty sure that they'll stay stuck. And if they don't, I bought the stickers at the Dollar Tree. I could go get more and re-put them on if any of them peel up. Not a big deal. But yeah, cornhole scoreboards. Are we ready to play? I'm ready to play. So, like I mentioned, if you want to make these scoreboards for yourself, I got the recipe from HGTV. I will put the link to the recipe in the description box below. It is a very easy build. There are some time-consuming things like making sure the numbers are centered, but that's gonna come down to your own like OCD of it all. You could just eyeball all the numbers and stick them on. And I'm sure it would be fine. You could eyeball a lot of the stuff and I'm sure it would be fine. But me, I had to make sure everything was precise. So those steps did take me a little bit longer, but that was my choosing. But as far as the wood, I got it cut down to size at the Home Depot. The hinge, we did need a hacksaw for that, but it was very easy. I counted and I think it took me like 60 to get through it. Not a big deal at all. If you wanted to avoid this, you could just buy 2 shorter like door hinges and then you wouldn't have to cut a hinge at all. And then really all you need is your jigsaw and a drill. Yay! And that's it. They're very, 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 very easy to build. So if you have cornhole boards, but you don't have a scoreboard, now you can make one for yourself and it won't take you that long at all, I promise. So all that's left for me to do is to slap a bow on this and go take it to Stacy.
I'm excited.
I can't wait for her to see it. I know she's gonna be over the moon. So yeah, another successful DIY. I couldn't be happier. So, if you like this video, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. Be sure to ring that notification bell so that you are alerted to all of the DIY Wednesday videos I push out, which is every other Wednesday at 5:30 Pacific Standard Time. Make sure you share this video with your family and friends. And as always, thanks for hanging out.